Hello there, Capricorn. Welcome to a random tarot card reading. Where in this random tarot card reading, we are going to let the cards talk about whatever it wants. It could be love, life, your job, your travel. We are also using a deck of Greek mythology, and these Greek mythological characters are going to help us to understand what is happening in your life about whatever topic it wants to talk about here. I just want to say, first off, I've got two more cards to pull. These are looking really lovely, and we are absolutely stepping into the realms of love here. Like honorable love. Oh my gosh. Recovery and healing through love. Interesting. Oh my God, we've got Asclepius twice. Health and recovery twice over. Both people are healing here. Holy moly. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Let's start off with the story of Andromeda. Do you know? In Greek mythology, this is what we do in these readings. With Greek mythological understandings, we can look at the macrocosm of these stories from ancient traditions. And then we can bring them into the microcosm of your life. Because technically, we read books all the time. We read Plato, we read Aristotle, Socrates, books of, Gnosticism, whatever books you're reading, books in the Bible, books in Islamic traditions, whatever books you're reading stories of other people's lives, learning about the lessons from those people. You didn't go through the situations that Plato talked about, but you can learn through them, and you can kind of pretend in your mind that if you did go through those situations, how would that affect you in these days? All stories are like that. That's how human storytelling functions. In this case, we are telling the story through pictures. Instead of reading sentences on a page, we're doing it through pictures. And the story of Andromeda is one of sacrifice. Andromeda, if you don't know, she was the one who was attached to a stone and given as a sacrifice after her mother boasted about how beautiful Andromeda was, and Perseus had to go after Medusa, cutting off the Gorgon's head and bringing it to save Andromeda. And this is why the card of Andromeda boisters the energy of sacrifice, gratitude, but most importantly, unity and love. The amount of love we have in this reading here is doubled over, because if you know the story of Baucis and Philemon in Greek tradition, there's a very particular reason why partnership and true love exists on this card and why they have grown so old together. We almost have the energy of, if we had a third card, we'd be going straight into Mother, Maiden, Crone kind of vibes, from youth to elderly energy here. So we are 100% stepping into the territory of the kind of love where you make it a very long time with this person. Whoever it is, if you are dealing with a relationship, you are in it for the long haul. You want to be in it for the long haul. And with the success of this reading, because I can see the success in the other cards here, you're going to have a very long-term relationship with this person. And under the true love energy that we have in Baucis and Philemon, which story I will describe to you in a moment, this is absolutely talking like forever kind of person. Everyone always asks, are you going to have a forever type of person? With this reading, 100%. Baucis and Philemon, as the story goes, as they grew old together, is they were not well off. They were in the lower classes, if you talked about it like a class system kind of way. And one day the gods came around, knocking on the doors of people in the location that they lived at, looking for shelter. And they were denied a few times until these gods came to Baucis and Philemon's door. I learned about this story so long ago. It's so beautiful. Baucis and Philemon offered so much support, feeding them, welcoming them into their home, allowing them to stay the night. I think there might have been a storm outside, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that one. Anyways, they are just so hospitable. And then the gods reveal themselves, and Baucis and Philemon are granted a wish. And what wish do you think they asked for? Because they are so humble in their humility and their consideration of one another and their teamwork with one another. They asked to grow old together, to die with one another. And they did. And even after they died, they were blessed with turning into two trees that intertwined with one another. That some people say, this is the story of the linden tree, by the way, the tree of life, that these two trees intertwined with one another so that even after death, these trees continued to be together. talk about forever person. I know we talk about being with people until we, pass in our old elderly days, but those two got the longer game. Those two went into heaven together, or the afterlife, the underworld, wherever they went afterwards. Again, don't quote me on where they went after they became trees with one another, but they definitely did it together. Now, what I think is really unique about this here is that the foundational reasons for the success in this future relationship is based on what feels like to me two or three really important attributes. Love, that has come up multiple times. Honor is a part of the story of Baucis and Philemon, and Hestia is here talking about the idea of honor. So we've got multiple cards bringing that concept up. But also the avenue of nourishment is here. Hestia brings in the idea of nourishment because of her connection to the hearth, the things that were, attributed to the home life, like our ability to produce and have nourishment and have, it reminds me of the Four of Wands card. The word that I'm looking for is on the tip of my tongue. Have abundance through the harvest. That's what I'm looking for. And Asclepius here is specifically connected to health. This is where we get our medical symbol from. If you've ever seen the serpents with wings on the side of ambulances and healthcare facilities, that's Asclepius. But you got him twice, which I rarely see. One in the reversal, though, one in the upright. So I think that both of you are healing, which means you will have a necessity with Heracles to go through trials and difficulties and strengths with each other. But because Heracles is in the upright position, you will successfully overcome these difficulties and trials. But those trials are needed because you guys are healing from something. One of you is healing more than the other. I'll be quite frank also, because this says recovery, two things are deeply coming to mind. Three things, really. Either a physical ailment, somebody might have an actual health issue. That could include, for a second note, mental health recovery, but the concept of recovery is deeply connected to healing through actual substance recovery. One of you guys might have difficulties with being in the position of healing from substance use. Not always is the word recovery connected to that, but that's coming up for me big time for some reason. Especially because we've got concepts connected to nourishment and how the body nourishes its own self. The things that we take into our own selves. Some of you, this health could be, instead of recovery from substances, it could be the kind of recovery that could circle around the concept of how one feeds themselves. So their weight, their exercise, their physical health in that sense. I also think that because this card here of Heracles is connected to strength of the body, but this card is actually connected to the strength card in tarot in Rider-Waite-Smith. That's why I put the lion on it. I created this deck, by the way. I just haven't sold it yet. But it's a really fascinating deck. But the reason I put the lion on here is also because the lion is incorporated into the Heracles story. But I chose to insinuate it with strength because the strength card in traditional tarot is about subduing difficulties. That's why the word subdue is here. And subduing, especially of the body, can include physical things that you deal with, like eating, exercise. Think the 7 deadly sins: sloth, laziness, overindulgence of substances, avarice, greed, things like that. So you guys are also with the card of preparation. It's also involved in having to go through preparatory states. So I think you guys are healing. But if you truly want to have a relationship, you guys are going to have to heal through this together. What do they say when they want forever relationships? When you want to be with a forever person, the idea is in sickness and in health. This is the idea. In the challenges and the honor of the sacred. through unity, through love. It's a really good reading, you guys. If you're having difficulties, this is just a part of it. In sickness and in health. If you're wondering if you're going to be with this person, this reading says, hell yes. But you have the challenges of real human existence to go through. This nobody goes through and happily ever after forever, no difficulties ever, ever again. Amen. No, they live happily ever after through the difficulties and the ups and downs, you know. I like it. My phone is actually dying here for a second. Let me just plug in my phone for a second. But we're pretty much at the end of this reading here. I think what I'll do as I plug this in is I'll get... Sorry, I accidentally clicked the pause button there for a second with my thumb. Let me get my Beast Soul Tarot deck. This is a completely different deck. We're just going to shuffle it for a moment here and see if there's any advice pieces that come from this Capricorn. True love. Look at you go. Capricorns, you guys have had a hard 7 years. It'd be nice for you guys to get this energy of true love and unity. Am I right? Okay. We have the wise crocodile. More on the reptilian energy. Asclepius, like I said, having the winged serpent concept. And one more card here. The guardian bear. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's your advice piece. Your advice piece is interdependence. This is talking about you need to tap into your feelings. You need to go travel, discover the beauty of nature, connecting to the power of the earth, inner strength and healing. By the way, third card of healing, Asclepius, and now a different deck. No matter what deck we're shuffling here, we are getting that constant concept coming out. But it's on an independent facet. Relationships are best dealt with when two people have their own sense of interdependence within the relationship. They can be their own humans. They can deal with their own identity situations. They can do that healing on their own while also flowing through the dynamic of unity that can happen with one another. In the opposite, it would be straight up independence and never dealing with one another, or codependence and always, being too much involved with the other person. So interdependence is the key. That ability to navigate how you guys grow through your own situations and then two become one. Two independent people become one in their interdependence and union with one another. But these cards are about self-discovery. Actually, both cards also foster the word discover. Discover. This is just you focusing on you. You focus on you, my dears. Do your healing. This person will do their healing. The universe will, or you could say the gods if you're into that thing, will protect this and will honor this as a sacred situation. This is a true love situation. There's no way around it. But you have to be your own person. And this person has to be their own person. And that way you can join up to one another at the right time. Focus on your healing, okay? Your person will come when they are due. You could genuinely go on. I say this a lot in my live stream readings for people. When I do live streams on TikTok, I tell people a lot of the times, if you kicked somebody out of your life, you did not want to be with them anymore. If the universe said that you were supposed to be with that person, you can kick them out 5 million times. And they will come back when the universe needs them to. You could choose to move on and go be in a relationship. And if you are not supposed to be with the new person, but you're actually supposed to be with the person you kicked away, or they kicked you away, nope, the universe will bring them back at the right time. It doesn't matter if you move on or if you stay still. What's yours will be at whatever time it's meant to be. In this case, you don't have to be nervous about just going on and doing your own thing. You don't have to be nervous about working on your own healing. If you don't have to be nervous about whether or not you have a fling with somebody randomly in the world, if you're single at this point, right? And if you're already in this established relationship, you certainly don't have to be afraid of building up your own independent self. I will leave you off with that. Many blessings to you. Happy Easter weekend. Happy holidays and happy Good Friday, because that's when I'm recording this today. I will talk to you later. I am now off to do the sign of Sagittarius. Many blessings to you guys. I will talk to you later. And if you'd like a private reading, hit me up at the link in the bio. Ciao for now.